Hello, friend, and welcome to the Sleepy Meteorologist. Tonight, we'll drift together into the glowing mystery of red sprites and blue jets. Strange, ethereal flashes that flicker far above thunderstorms, where the edge of the sky brushes against space. These are not your usual bolts of lightning. They are quieter, rarer, like whispers from the stars, appearing only when conditions above the clouds align just so. Maybe your day has been long and filled with noise, or maybe you're simply here to let your curiosity float free and wander the upper reaches of our atmosphere. Wherever you are, take a moment to notice the sky. Is it cloudy tonight? Clear? Silent? Singing? We're glad you're here. If you enjoy these gentle meteorology journeys, feel free to like or subscribe. It helps more sleepy travelers find their way through the clouds. Now, allow your body to soften, your breath to slow, and your mind to settle, like fog curling around a quiet hill. Tonight's journey is waiting for us. Let's begin. Above the storms, where the sky thins and the stars begin their slow shimmer, there is a place few eyes have wandered. Here, the air is nearly gone, the wind is hushed, and silence stretches like silk across the heavens. And in this silence, something glows. Not the ordinary lightning that splits the clouds with a crack and a flash, but something more secret, more delicate, flickering briefly above the clouds, as though the sky itself were sighing in colour. Red sprites, blue jets, ephemeral lights born not within storms, but above them, in the realm where atmosphere fades into space. For centuries, they went unseen, their glow too brief, their altitude too high. Like sky phantoms, they danced in silence, unnoticed by even the most attentive stargazers. But tonight, as you rest and breathe slowly beneath the same sky, we'll rise together into this quiet kingdom, where light moves without thunder, and storms reach upward with luminous fingertips. Sprites and jets are born of electrical charge, but not in the way we usually imagine. They aren't part of the main storm's lightning strikes, but rather a distant response, a kind of atmospheric echo. When a particularly strong lightning bolt strikes downward toward Earth, it shifts the electrical balance of the surrounding sky. And sometimes, in response, the upper atmosphere answers, not with a roar, but with a bloom of light. Sprites, those tall red wisps, stretch upward from the tops of thunderstorms, often reaching 30 to 50 miles into the mesosphere. Jets, in hues of blue and violet, shoot up in narrow columns, sharp and sudden, yet always silent. Imagine it. A thunderstorm rumbles far below, and above it, in the near vacuum of space's edge, a light blossoms like a dream, brief and quiet. This is what we call transient luminous events, fleeting illuminations that do not linger. They last for just a few milliseconds. Too fast for the naked eye, but not too fast for the soul to feel. They do not roar, they do not flash like warning lights. They appear and vanish, dancing in stillness. There is something deeply peaceful in this, the idea that even storms have soft expressions, that even the most electric skies can whisper light instead of thunder. And so tonight, we float just above the clouds, watching these sky spirits flicker and drift. There is no need to chase them, only to notice. The upper atmosphere is not empty. It holds its own secret ballet, a place where science meets wonder and energy becomes art. Sleep now, knowing that above the clouds, beyond the noise of weather, there is a glowing quiet, a gentle response to the storm's shout, a soft dance in the darkness, a sky that listens and glows in return. Let's rise a little higher, up through the atmosphere's quiet layers, where the air grows cool and rare, and the colors of the storm begin to shift into something otherworldly. And there, just above the storm clouds, we find them, red sprites. They do not crash or crackle. They do not announce themselves. Instead, they shimmer for the briefest of moments, tall, graceful figures in the dark, like jellyfish made of crimson light. Sprites are a kind of electrical phenomenon, a whisper of energy that blooms after a powerful lightning strike. But instead of traveling downward toward the earth, they burst upward, stretching 30, 40, even 50 miles above the clouds into the mesosphere. Here, the air is barely there. It's cold, delicate, almost like the breath between dreams. And into this fragile space, a red sprite unfurls. They take many forms, some thin and columnar, like tendrils reaching for the stars. Others fan out like trees, or spread like coral. Some even appear as clusters, a silent forest of light blooming in unison. What causes them? Not the lightning you see, but what happens afterward, when a particularly strong bolt strikes. Downward, it disturbs the electric field above the cloud, and in response, a red sprite is born, a luminous echo in the thin upper air. They last only milliseconds, but in that time, they span miles, ghostly and grand, like the breath of the sky itself. Unlike lightning, they are gentle in their glow. No burning white, no jagged fork, just soft, fleeting crimson, a warm hue in the coldest part of the sky. And though they rise from the thunderclouds, they carry no threat. They are part of the storm's release, its sigh, not its scream. Many who have photographed them describe the experience as dreamlike. Some say they didn't even notice the sprite until they reviewed their footage, like catching a secret shared only with the stars. Imagine, if you will, a thunderstorm murmuring far below, and above it, a sprite lifting upward, a towering column of red light, dissolving almost before it fully appears. We do not need to capture it to believe it. The sky often holds things we cannot see, yet they are still there, still beautiful. So tonight, let your mind drift with the red sprite. Let it rise slowly from the clouds, stretching into silence, then dissolving into the velvet sky. This is not a storm. This is the storm's lullaby, a farewell in red. Now, let's drift a little lower again, closer to the crowns of towering storm clouds. Here, in the chilled, electrified tops of deep convective storms, we find another wonder, waiting in the quiet blue jets. Unlike red sprites, which blossom in wide, gentle fans, blue jets shoot upward in narrow, focused columns, like beams of sapphire light, rising sharply into the stratosphere. They are fast, so fast they disappear almost before we know they were there. But for a moment, they are brilliant. A blue jet often begins inside the thundercloud, not as a bolt that strikes the ground, but as a burst of charge racing upward. And when it breaks free, it becomes something altogether different. A smooth, narrow streak of vivid blue, like a lightning finger touching the upper air. They can stretch up to 30 miles high, their glow shifting from deep indigo to violet as they rise. Their edges are soft, diffuse, like a watercolor painted in the sky. No thunder, no crack, just a gentle rush upward, then gone. These jets, like sprites, are part of what we call transient luminous events, short-lived bursts of light that flicker quietly above storms. Though they were once invisible to us, modern cameras have revealed their beauty and their mystery. They appear when the storm is strong, when the convection deep within the cloud reaches its peak. And in that moment, As heat and moisture rise like breath, the jet escapes, a sudden pulse of calm blue energy. It is not something to fear. It is something to behold. Scientists still study these jets, seeking to understand why they form and how they move. But here, in this nighttime space of quiet, we don't need to solve them. We can simply observe, notice, and dream. Imagine looking up from a mountain ridge or the open sea and seeing a flash, not from the cloud's base, but from its crown. A silent bloom of blue, shooting upward like a wish, then vanishing. Tonight, we let the jet rise past us, like a soft breath from the storm. We don't hold on, we simply watch and rest, knowing that even storms have beauty to give in the quiet spaces above. Far above the rumbling clouds, beyond the flashing storm that crackles and roars on Earth's canvas, another storm unfolds. One you cannot hear, but one you may sense if you know where and how to look. This is a silent storm, a storm above the storm, while lightning lashes downward and thunder stirs the horizon like a deep drum. A second symphony begins, but its music is made of light, not sound. Sprites and jets bloom quietly, so high in the sky that sound cannot reach. There is no thunder here, only a flicker, a brief, silent breath of brightness at the edge of vision. From the ground, these luminous pulses seem like faint secrets, too fast, too subtle, perhaps imagined. But they are real. Their silence does not mean absence. It means mystery. They rise in reply to the drama below, but they do not mimic it. They do not flash with violence. They shimmer with grace. Each sprite is a soft echo, a crimson ripple in the dark sky, responding to energy that moves too quickly for the eye to follow. Each blue jet is a skyward whisper, shooting up through thinning air with elegant speed. This is a mirrored dance, a gentle doubling of the storm, one you see and one you might only feel, as if the sky were dreaming out loud. The upper atmosphere is quiet by nature. Here, molecules are few and far between. The air is thin, so thin that sound cannot travel in the way we know it, but light can. And so, while storms below clamour for attention, these higher forms of weather slip by unnoticed, invisible to most eyes, unknown for centuries. Only with the help of sensitive cameras and patient watching have we begun to understand that a storm story isn't limited to rain, thunder, or lightning. It continues above, in silence, in shadow, in subtle, glowing phrases of energy. Like reflections in a pond, distorted, softened, yet still real, these upper atmospheric events echo the emotions of storms. The world above is not still. It responds. A strong lightning bolt strikes downward, and somewhere above the clouds, a red sprite lifts, silent and majestic. No thunder, no alarm, just a quiet light in a sky that listens. Tonight, as you rest, imagine the clouds drifting far below, their thunder muffled by distance. And high above them, in air too thin to breathe, soft flickers bloom and fade. Not storms of chaos, but storms of calm, storms behind the storms. And in this layered stillness, you are safe, carried between the hush and the shimmer. Now, let's drift even higher, above the comforting weight of clouds, above the realm of birds and weather balloons, into a rare and chilly ocean of air known as the mesosphere. This is a place few humans have ever touched, too high for planes, too low for satellites, and just remote enough to keep its secrets safe in the stars. Here, the air is thin, whisper thin, the pressure is nearly nothing, and the temperature drops to astonishing lows, colder than any place on Earth's surface. But within this delicate space, something glows. It is here that red sprites dance, painting the sky with soft flickers of ruby and rose. The mesosphere is not noisy like the troposphere below. It does not thunder or swirl. Instead, it glows in silence, touched gently by electric fields that ripple upward from storms. These fields are invisible, imperceptible at the surface, but up here, in this stillness, they awaken the sky. When a powerful lightning strike disturbs the electric balance of the atmosphere, its energy stretches upward, soft and vast, until it reaches the mesosphere. And here, a sprite blooms. Like a luminous tree, it unfurls, branching upward in delicate filaments, some as tall as 10 Mount Everests stacked end to end. Some fan out like coral, others twist like flames. These aren't sparks, they are plasma, gently ionized air that glows when touched by just the right conditions. Imagine drifting here, among these quiet bursts of red light. No wind, no sound, only the soft pull of gravity and the occasional flicker of sky fire around you. You are now in a layer of the atmosphere that cradles the auroras at its edges, where shooting stars begin their final descent. A realm of soft extremes and slow, graceful motion. And even in this coldest of places, beauty flourishes. The sprites that bloom here don't last. They're born in less than a second and vanish just as quickly. But for that moment, they are everything. They are the mesosphere's voice, spoken in light. They are reminders that even in the coldest corners, there is warmth. Even in silence, there is song. So rest now in this high and gentle cradle. You are surrounded by sky fire, and all is well. Down below, thunderclouds churn with energy, massive towers of vapor and heat, rising like mountains into the sky, and above, the stillness waits. Between these two worlds, the storm and the stars, a quiet dialogue unfolds. It's not a shout, it's not even a word, it's a dance. When lightning flashes within a cloud, a sudden roaring burst of energy, it leaves behind a ripple, an echo, an invisible wave that climbs and climbs into the higher atmosphere. And if the air above is just right, if the fields of charge are balanced just so, the mesosphere will answer, not with sound, not with fury, but with a soft, glowing breath, a red sprite. This is no accident. It's a relationship, a back and forth, a connection across altitude, across scale, across silence. The storm roars and space replies in light. It's like watching a ballet, where one dancer spins with power and the other answers with stillness and grace. Lightning and sprites are not the same. They are opposite ends of a spectrum. One belongs to the troposphere, loud, bright, close. The other belongs to the mesosphere, quiet, diffuse, far away. But they are connected. They are partners in a hidden waltz, a movement that begins deep in the heart of the storm and ends in the hush of space. You may never see a sprite with your eyes, but knowing they exist adds a softness to the sky, a reminder that even storms contain beauty you cannot always see. And so, tonight, let your thoughts drift between clouds and stars, between the crash of thunder and the hush of glow. Let yourself float in that space in between, where energy becomes elegance, and the sky dances. We often think of lightning as the final act of a storm, a brilliant flash, a crack of sound, a fleeting jolt of nature's power. But what if lightning leaves something behind? Not something loud or sharp, but something delicate, something like a ghost. As we float once more into the thin upper air, we begin to see it, the soft afterglow of a deeper energy, a quiet result, not of lightning's presence, but of its absence. This is the Sprites spark. Sprites are not born at the moment of lightning, but in the breath that follows. When a powerful bolt pierces the sky, it does more than illuminate the clouds. It shifts the balance, subtly altering the electric fields that stretch far above the storm. Like ripples from a stone tossed into a still pond, these fields extend upward, changing the gentle currents of the mesosphere, just enough to awaken a bloom of light. And in that instant, a sprite appears, not a product of lightning itself, but of what it leaves behind, a trace, an echo, a spark that lingers like a whisper in the sky. The mesosphere is sensitive, its air thin and its charge easily influenced. When the residual energy from lightning reaches it, the atmosphere responds not with noise, but with light. Red filaments unfold, ghostly shapes dance for less than a second, and then they vanish. We are witnessing the ghost of lightning, not its roar, not its heat, but its imprint, a signature written in red across the heavens. Sprites are lightning's memory. They carry no thunder, no jagged path, only light, and that light flows upward in beautiful, ephemeral structures, some like tendrils, others like crowns. It's humbling to think that storms speak not only in sound, but in echoes, that the sky listens and responds, long after the storm has moved on. As you rest tonight, imagine that stillness. A bolt flashes far below, and above it, a ghost of light flickers into view, graceful and free, then gone. This is the Sprite's spark, not a warning, not a threat, but a soft reminder that energy lingers, and that even thunder has a quiet reflection. Let's rise higher now, to the edge of the stratosphere, where the rarest of skyfire waits, a luminous bridge stretching from storm to space. These are the gigantic jets, taller than blue jets, rarer than red sprites. These immense electric beings rise like glowing towers into the night. They are lightning's secret ladder, climbing over 50 miles in a single, elegant burst. It begins quietly, deep within a storm, where convective energy churns in silence. And then, a charge escapes, not downward, but upward, not jagged, but smooth. A jet begins to rise, deep blue at first, then shifting to violet as it pierces the upper air. It grows fast, from the cloud tops to the ionosphere, the realm where Earth's atmosphere blends into space. A gigantic jet surges upward, sometimes splitting into branches, sometimes rising in one perfect column. Its color is shaped by altitude. As it passes through denser air, it glows with deeper hues. As it enters thinner layers, the color softens, as if space itself were catching it in its arms. This is not an everyday event. Gigantic jets are exceedingly rare. Only a few have ever been captured on film, and fewer still seen by the naked eye. But they exist, quietly, majestically, carving their path between Earth and cosmos. They are not destructive. They are not chaotic. They are connections, natural bridges of energy, forming only when all conditions align. It's as if the Earth reaches up and for a moment touches the sky. No sound, no storm on the surface, just a flash and a towering arc of light. Some describe them as electric mountains, others as luminous trees. To watch one is to glimpse the architecture of the atmosphere made visible for a heartbeat. And then, nothing. The sky returns to black. But you remember that glow, that height, that silent climb. As you drift into sleep tonight, imagine being weightless, floating beside a jet of light rising slowly from the cloud. Below, your only companions, stars above, and silence all around. Gigantic jets remind us that even storms can stretch their arms toward peace. In the quiet spaces above storms, light takes on colour as it never does on Earth. Red, blue, violet. These are not the bold neons of city lights, nor the warm glow of sunset skies. These are colours shaped by altitude, subtle, shifting, born in electric silence. Why red? Why blue? The answer lays in the whisper-thin air and the molecules it holds. High above the surface, the air grows rare. Molecules of nitrogen and oxygen, the building blocks of breath, drift farther apart. When electrical energy moves through this space, it doesn't spark or burn. It excites. That is, it brushes against these molecules, and in return, they release light. At lower altitudes, closer to the storm, nitrogen emits soft blue hues. This is the color of blue jets, narrow and deep, rising quickly from the storm tops. Higher up, where the mesosphere thins even more, the same energy causes nitrogen to glow red. This is the color of red sprites, broad, gentle, and haunting. Violet emerges in between as energy shifts through gradients of density, like a painter mixing sky with starlight. Unlike lightning, which is white hot and fast, these lights are cooler. They don't burn, they glow. Their hues are determined not by heat, but by altitude, by the space between air molecules and how energy moves among them. Imagine air so thin, so quiet, that color becomes a kind of voice. These lights are nature's palette, in tones we rarely see. And while auroras paint the poles in shimmering greens, sprites and jets glow in hidden skies, where storms and stars coexist. They are auroras born of thunder, but without the noise, without the drama, just a pulse of blue, a tendril of red, a moment of cosmic watercolor. These are the colors of electric silence, not meant to wake you, but to soothe you. As you close your eyes, tonight, let these colors drift through your thoughts. Cool blue, soft crimson, hushed violet. A quiet rainbow, painted in air too thin to hold it long, but just long enough to dream. Above the clouds, in the hush beyond thunder, a family of light flickers into being. They are not storms. They are not stars. They are something in between, a brief meeting of energy and silence, a soft unveiling of what the sky can do when it speaks not with sound, but with light. These are transient luminous events, or TLEs, a gentle scientific name for a gentle phenomenon. Red sprites, blue jets, gigantic jets, elves, halos, trolls. They all belong to this fleeting lineage. Each one appears for only a moment, a flash of colour, a brushstroke against the dark. TLEs are not permanent. They are not predictable. They are transient, arriving and vanishing within milliseconds. Far too fast for our eyes to follow, but not too fast for the sky to remember. Cameras with long exposures, silent. Observers stationed high on mountaintops or aboard passing satellites have captured them. They flicker above thunderstorms like silent fireworks, unfolding without a sound, then slipping away. Some TLEs rise from cloud tops like glowing branches. Others expand outward in circles, ripples of light moving faster than sound. They are brief but beautiful, rare but real. Before they were named, these phenomena existed unseen for centuries. Perhaps someone glimpsed a flash above the storm and dismissed it as imagination, or a trick of the eye. But now, with quiet eyes and careful patience, we've learned to listen to the sky in its most delicate moods. TLEs happen far above where regular lightning occurs, in the thin air of the stratosphere, the mesosphere, even brushing into the ionosphere, where the edge of space begins. They do not roar, they do not threaten, they simply happen, as natural and as gentle as the hush before sleep. Each one is a signature of the storm's inner life, not the chaos we see below, but the harmony that unfolds above. The sky, in this way, becomes an artist, signing its name in light, in places few will ever look. As you breathe deeply and settle in tonight, know that high above, beyond the reach of thunder, there are silent expressions still unfolding. Sprites stretching upward, jets flashing blue and violet, rings of light expanding like echoes in still air. A family of wonders, each born in silence, each glowing only once. Let your thoughts wander there, to that family of flickers, to those momentary glows, to the beauty of things that last just long enough to be seen by those who are watching gently. For as long as there have been skies, there have been storms. And for as long as storms have danced across the horizon, there have been whispers of light flickering silently above them. But we did not always see. Sprites, jets, and their luminous cousins have been blooming in the upper sky for thousands of years. But for most of human history, they remained hidden, tucked into the folds of night, too quick and too high for us to notice. There are ancient tales, passed quietly through generations, of strange lights dancing above thunderheads. Mariners spoke of glowing flashes in the sky that never made a sound. Pilots, in the early days of flight, occasionally reported streaks of red or blue above the clouds, phenomena dismissed as optical illusions or misremembered lightning. Science, for all its brilliance, sometimes takes time to listen to soft things. For centuries, sprites and jets lived in mystery, and yet they never stopped dancing. It wasn't until the late 20th century, with sensitive instruments and slow-frame cameras, that the modern world finally began to see what the storms had been quietly revealing all along. Above the lightning, above the cloud tops, there was something more, a second layer of beauty, waiting patiently to be found. This is a history not written in books, but in light, in flickers and flashes, in silent displays too soft for thunder, too brief for the naked eye. And so, much of the story of TLEs is not one of invention, but of rediscovery, a reminder that the world still holds secrets, that the sky we think we know is always keeping one more quiet wonder just out of reach. As you rest tonight, imagine those centuries of clouds, those generations of storms, those secret flashes above, invisible to all but the stars. Let it comfort you, the thought that beauty doesn't vanish just because we don't see it. Sometimes it waits. It was a quiet moment, just another observation in a long evening of looking upward. But then, a flicker, a brief red shape on the horizon, recorded not by the eye, but by a slow camera lens. And with that simple flicker, the world changed. The year was 1989. A research team from the University of Minnesota was studying lightning with a low-light video camera. They weren't searching for sprites. In truth, they didn't even know sprites were there. But the sky was generous that night. Above a distant thunderstorm, a strange flash was recorded. Tall, vertical, faintly red, reaching far above the clouds. At first, they didn't believe it. It seemed like an error, a glitch in the camera. But the image was real, and more followed. Soon, other observers began to watch, with better instruments, with slower cameras. And the sprites appeared again, graceful, ghostly, undeniable. For the first time in history, we had visual proof of something the sky had always known. The first photograph of a sprite was not dramatic. It was quiet, blurred, fleeting, but it was enough. It opened a door. Since that moment, scientists around the world have turned their lenses toward the upper atmosphere, and what they found was a whole family of light, sprites, jets, halos, elves, a hidden kingdom glowing in the silence above storms. That first sprite was more than a discovery. It was a reminder that even in the age of satellites and sensors, the Earth still holds wonders we have not yet learned to see, and that sometimes all it takes is one quiet moment and one open lens to change the way we understand the sky. As you close your eyes, imagine that night, a quiet room, a researcher reviewing footage, and then a red glow frozen in the dark. The first proof of the storm's silent companion, the first whisper of something beautiful above the clouds. The sky has always spoken in light, but not all light is meant for our eyes. Some of it flickers too quickly, some glows too faintly, and some is simply too far away to be seen in the ordinary way. But the sky is patient. It knows that eventually someone will learn how to listen more gently, that someone is the camera. Not just any camera, but specially tuned lenses, designed to see in the dark, to slow down time, and to capture things the human eye was never meant to hold. These are the watchers of the sky. In mountaintop observatories, on balloon-borne experiments, and aboard satellites drifting in the quiet reaches of space, these cameras wait, watching silently for flashes too soft to notice. They don't blink, they don't rush, they are taught to be still, and in that stillness they catch miracles. A red sprite blooming above a thunderstorm, a blue jet reaching up like a thread of light, an elf expanding in a perfect ring, a ghost of brightness so wide it could wrap the horizon. These images come from low-light sensors, slow frame video, and instruments that measure faint pulses of energy. Together, they weave a tapestry of glimpses, moments of quiet wonder that once lived only in the imagination. Some of the most remarkable captures have come from space itself, from the International Space Station, where astronauts gaze down and sometimes see flashes of sky fire blooming upward through the dark. Other cameras are grounded, stationed in deserts, forests, and high plateaus where skies are dark and storms frequent. These instruments do not chase the storms, they wait for them, and when the timing is just right, they record something rare, a brief, luminous signature from a world above the weather. To study transient luminous events is to study what lies just beyond ordinary vision. It is to trust that the sky is always saying more. We simply need new ways to hear it. So, while you rest tonight, know that someone, somewhere, is pointing a quiet camera toward the stars, hoping to catch a glimpse of the next red filament, the next electric tree, the next glow that says, "I was here. Even if you didn't see me, I was here." And the camera, patient and unblinking, will see it. Sprites are wanderers. They bloom above thunderstorms in many corners of the world, whenever conditions are just right. But they don't appear everywhere. They have their favorite places, quiet stages in the sky, where the storm's song can rise upward into a flicker of red light. Sprites most often appear above large, intense thunderstorms, those deep convective systems that stretch tall into the sky, filled with energy and towering clouds. These storms usually form in mid-latitude regions, areas where warm, moist air collides with cooler winds above. One such place is the central United States, where powerful summer storms sweep across the plains. Here, the sky is open, and the atmosphere builds dramatic cloud towers that often stretch deep into the stratosphere. Another hotspot is South America, especially near the Andes Mountains and Brazil. regions where tropical heat feeds the sky and lightning bursts with strength. Japan, too, sees its share of sprites, as do parts of Australia, Europe, and the open waters of the Pacific. And always, wherever you find deep storms with strong lightning and peaceful upper air, you might also find a sprite waiting to bloom. But these places are only part of the puzzle. Sprites also rely on timing. They favor the quiet moments between cloudbursts, the still air after a lightning strike, when the energy field has shifted and the sky is poised to respond. They rise when the clouds are deep, but the atmosphere above them is soft, not too turbulent, not too noisy, just calm enough for a gentle signal to pass through. And while they can appear almost anywhere, they prefer to do so where darkness falls fully, and where someone is quietly watching. You may live beneath a sky that has held sprites before, or may again. Even if you've never seen one, you've likely slept beneath one. They are there, silent companions to the storm, blooming for a breath, then gone. So the next time thunder rumbles on a summer night, and you see a distant flash far above the clouds, pause. You may be looking at one of the sky's rarest gifts, a place where Earth reaches up and light answers. You may have lived a lifetime beneath a sky that held sprites and never known. You may have stood outside during storms, watched lightning dance across the clouds, heard thunder roll in the distance, and still missed the quiet bloom happening far above. Why? Because sprites and jets do not appear where we usually look. They live in the space above the storm, far higher than ordinary lightning, in the thin air of the mesosphere and beyond. And when they do appear, they do so in silence and in haste. A sprite lasts only milliseconds, faster than a blink, faster than thought. It rises and vanishes before most people know it was ever there. And unlike lightning, which strikes downward with a sharp crack, sprites bloom upward and do not produce thunder. They flicker quietly on the very edge of the visible sky, a flash at the top of your vision, gone before you can turn your head. They're easiest to see at night, from a distance, with clear skies above and storms on the horizon. But how often do we find ourselves perfectly still, gazing toward the upper edges of a storm in total darkness, without blinking? Rarely. And so, most people miss them. Even pilots, who fly above clouds daily, often don't notice them, unless they're flying at night, and know exactly where to look. It's not that sprites are hiding, they're simply shy. And so, the sky keeps its secret. But that secret is slowly spreading, not because sprites have changed, but because our eyes have grown more patient. Low-light cameras, dedicated observers, and curious dreamers have revealed what's always been there. The silent bloom, the quiet arc, the hidden breath of colour above the storm. If you've never seen a sprite, you're not alone. Most people haven't, and that's what makes them so enchanting. They remind us that the world still holds unseen beauty, that even above something as dramatic as a thunderstorm, there may be something gentler unfolding, out of sight. As you close your eyes tonight, imagine what the sky might be doing above you. Not just clouds and stars, but subtle things, fleeting things, things that flicker once and are gone. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they aren't there. Some beauty is made to be missed, except by the quietest hearts. Let's leave the land behind now and drift slowly out over the open sea. Below us, deep waters breathe in waves, rising and falling like a slow lullaby. Above, the air stretches wide and clear, soft as the space between dreams. And somewhere in between, in the sky just above distant storms, red sprites bloom in silence. Storms over the ocean are different. They build without borders, growing tall on warm sea air, rising calmly into the sky, with nothing to stop them but the stars. These towering oceanic storms often stretch high enough to disturb the upper atmosphere, quietly awakening sprites far above. When sprites appear over water, they seem even more mysterious. There are no city lights. Below, no trees or hills to frame them, only black sea and black sky, mirroring one another. A lightning flash glows in the clouds, and then a red tendril of light lifts above, almost too fast to follow. It flickers into the mesosphere, then vanishes. Some of the most beautiful images of sprites have been captured far from shore, by sailors, by satellite, and by researchers on ships who watch the sky when all the world is dark. Out here, light travels differently. It moves without reflection, without noise. Sprites feel more ancient here, like old spirits walking the boundary between storm and starlight. The ocean's calmness amplifies the glow. The storm below murmurs, and the sprite answers with a soft red gesture. And though the sea is vast and people are few, sprites still find their moment. They do not need an audience. They rise because it is their time. They bloom because the atmosphere asks them to. In this way, they are like coral, quiet, beautiful, hidden in plain sight, rising only when the currents align. So imagine now, floating somewhere in the Pacific night, no sound but the water's hush, and then a sprite, lifting in perfect silence, just for you. Even when far from land, the earth finds a way to show you something luminous, something rare, something red, something like a heartbeat in the sky. Now, let's rise higher still, leaving the weather behind, passing through the quiet reaches of the thermosphere, until we arrive at the edge of Earth's embrace. This is where astronauts drift, weightless, silent, wrapped in stars. From here, storms look like paintings. Clouds swirl like cream in coffee, and lightning dances beneath like silver threads. But even from space, some lights go unnoticed, unless you're watching very closely. And sometimes, the astronauts do. High above the clouds, they've seen something extraordinary. Jets of blue and violet leaping upward from the storm tops, piercing the air like glowing needles. These are blue jets, gigantic jets, and their rarer cousins, transient luminous events seen from above. From orbit, they are breathtaking. Silent bursts of colour emerging from dark storms, rising not toward the ground, but toward the stars. Astronauts describe them as sudden flashes, brilliant and strange, like the Earth speaking in colour. Cameras aboard the International Space Station have captured these moments. Light flaring up from thunderclouds in soft columns and spreading rings. One moment, all is still. The next, a glowing jet stretches through the upper atmosphere, and then fades again. No sound, no storm felt, just light, brief, beautiful, and gone. From space, these jets seem more connected, not just part of a storm, but part of a system that includes the whole Earth. They rise from the clouds, through the stratosphere, into the ionosphere, sometimes brushing the realm where satellites drift. It's as if Earth is breathing, in light, in pulses, in upward sighs. To witness a jet from space is to see the storm from a new angle, not as a threat, but as a poem. Each jet a stanza, each sprite a verse, each flicker a punctuation in the great story of our atmosphere. So tonight, as you rest beneath your own patch of sky, know that somewhere far above, a silent observer may be watching the same storm as you, only from the stars. They both shimmer, they both glow in the night sky. They both dance in silence, weaving colours into the darkness. But auroras and sprites are not the same. Let's wander gently into the differences, not sharp or technical, but soft, like the way the sky changes from dusk to night. Auroras, also known as the northern and southern lights, are born from the sun. When solar winds carry charged particles toward Earth, they interact with the magnetic field, funneling energy into the upper atmosphere near the poles. There, the particles collide with molecules of oxygen and nitrogen, releasing light in soft ribbons and curtains, green, pink, violet. This happens high up in the thermosphere, sometimes over 100 miles above Earth. Auroras are graceful. They flow and ripple, lasting for minutes or hours, moving with the sky's magnetic tides. Sprites, by contrast, are born from Earth itself. They do not come from space, but from lightning storms below. They are the sky's quiet reply to powerful strikes of energy, a reflection, a ripple upward into the mesosphere. Sprites are fast. They do not dance. They flicker, red and brief, sometimes in branching shapes, sometimes like soft columns. They last for milliseconds. They do not flow. They bloom, then vanish. Auroras paint the sky in graceful waves. Sprites sketch it with quick, glowing lines. One flows from space to Earth. The other rises from Earth to space. But both, in their way, are expressions of light, the atmosphere's quiet way of feeling energy. Both are made of the same simple elements: oxygen, nitrogen, but in different places, under different circumstances, with different colors and moods. Auroras whisper in green and pink. Sprites flicker in crimson and coral. Jets burn blue. Elves flash violet. Together, they remind us that light is not one thing. It is many things, each with its own rhythm, its own purpose, its own story. Tonight, you may not see either, or you might. But whether the sky flows in waves or flickers in pulses, know that you are held beneath it, a world of light, both above and below, both ancient and always new. Let them meet in your dreams tonight, the dancer and the spark, and sleep in the space between. Up here, where the air is light as a whisper, and the stars seem just a little closer, something quiet holds everything in balance. It's not wind, it's not gravity, it's magnetism, but not the kind that pulls metal or makes compass needles spin wildly in your hand. This is something gentler, a soft magnetism woven into the upper sky, invisible, steady, and everywhere. Earth's magnetic field stretches far beyond what we see. It curves like a protective cocoon, shielding our atmosphere from the solar winds that rush in from space. This field is strongest near the poles, but it reaches across the globe, quietly guiding energy, shaping the behavior of particles, and forming pathways that electricity can follow, even in the thin air above storms. When a sprite flickers into being, or a jet climbs skyward, that soft magnetism is there, not causing it directly, but guiding it, like a gentle hand steering a paper lantern. The magnetic field doesn't shout. It doesn't pulse like lightning or sparkle like stars. It hums. It holds. It steadies the sky so that light can bloom. Imagine it now, a vast, unseen current flowing through everything above you, from cloud tops to satellites. You can't feel it on your skin, but the sprites can, and the auroras, and every quiet charge drifting through the upper air. Magnetism helps shape how sprites form. It curves their movement, subtly influencing their direction as they stretch into the mesosphere and thermosphere. It's the soft architecture behind the show. And just as Earth spins, its magnetic field shifts and evolves, dancing on a timescale much slower than storms. So slow, in fact, that you'd never notice it changing, but it does. And in its stillness, it holds the sky together. As you drift into rest, let this thought stay with you, that above every storm, beyond every cloud, there is a soft force holding space for light to dance. Not with pressure, not with noise, just quiet magnetism, cradling the upper sky. Let us rise higher now, into the thermosphere, a realm of thinness and light, where the atmosphere begins to fade into the edge of space. Here, the air is quiet, so quiet it no longer carries sound, so sparse you could travel miles before meeting a single wandering molecule, but still there is breath here. Not breath like ours, but an exhale of energy, a slow electric sigh that shapes the paths of light. Sprites do not usually live this high. Most bloom in the mesosphere below. But sometimes their tendrils reach further, stretching upward into the thermosphere's breath, delicate extensions climbing into the fading veil of Earth's atmosphere. Here, the glow is softer. The red becomes faint, almost pink, as the air grows too thin to hold colour for long. And yet, something still moves. Quiet charges, electromagnetic ripples, and the faraway pulse of a storm's memory. In this space, the thermosphere breathes not with air, but with energy. Solar particles drift in from above. Electric fields ripple up from below. And in the middle, a sprite finds its place. To exist here, light must be delicate. It must glow, not with heat or pressure, but with presence. When a sprite touches the thermosphere, it becomes a bridge, a glowing thread between sky and space, a moment of connection between storm and starlight. It doesn't last, it never does, but for that moment it is real, and in its silence you can almost hear the thermosphere breathe. It is not cold, not hot, but alive, not with weather, but with wonder. So, as you settle deeper into rest, imagine floating just above the clouds, feeling the air fade as you drift higher and higher, until you are among the very last wisps of atmosphere, where the earth ends and sky becomes space. There, a red light rises to meet you, a sprite exhaling into the dark. Before a sprite can bloom, before a jet can rise, something must build below. Let's return now, not to the surface, but to the tops of thunderclouds, those towering summits where sky and storm meet. Here, the air is cold, the pressure low, and the cloud's heart is alive with quiet electricity. Every thunderstorm carries charge, a natural result of tiny particles rubbing, rising, colliding within the cloud. Water droplets freeze, ice, crystals swirl, and deep inside, electric fields begin to form. But the real magic happens at the top. Here, in the upper reaches of the cloud, positive charges gather. They build like tension in a breath held too long. Below, negative charges swirl. Above, just above, the mesosphere waits. When a strong lightning bolt fires downward, it shifts the balance. The fields above feel it, a tug, a pull, an invitation. And sometimes, if the charge is just right, a sprite responds. This is where it begins, in the anvil tops of great thunderstorms, where rising heat meets falling cold, and where the sky feels charged with something more than just weather. From here, blue jets may launch, carrying a narrow ribbon of light through the stratosphere. From here, gigantic jets may stretch like electric trees all the way to space. All of it starts with invisible fields, with tiny differences in charge, held quietly until release. The upper cloud is not just the end of the storm, It's a gateway, a platform, a breath drawn in before the sky exhales. You cannot see the charge, you cannot hear it, but the light above knows it's there. So next time you watch a thundercloud and its top flattens into a silvery anvil, know that above it, in the waiting sky, something is listening, and sometimes it answers in red. Every storm tells a story. Some whisper across the sky, drifting gently, dropping soft rain over sleepy towns. Others rise taller, louder, with deeper breath and wilder rhythm. These are the storms that may awaken the upper sky. When it comes to sprites, jets, and glowing flashes above the clouds, intensity matters. Not every storm can reach the heavens. Only those with enough energy, enough charge, enough vertical motion have the strength to send a message into the higher air. It begins slowly, with warm air rising from the ground, carrying moisture into the sky. As this air climbs, it cools, and clouds begin to form. But in the strongest storms, this process doesn't stop. The warm air keeps lifting, higher and higher, creating tall, billowing towers that pierce the upper atmosphere. Inside these storms, ice particles swirl and collide, generating electrical charge. Like dancers brushing past one another, each contact builds tension, positive here, negative there, a quiet layering of energy. The more intense the storm, the stronger these charges become, and the greater the chance that the sky above will listen. A particularly strong lightning strike from such a storm can shift the electrical balance of the atmosphere, sending a wave of energy upward. And if the conditions are right, a sprite may respond. Red light flickers far above, not because the storm is wild, but because it is powerful. Power here doesn't mean violence. It means depth, structure, and a kind of atmospheric readiness that builds and builds until it finds release in light. So, when we say a storm is intense, we're not speaking of danger. We're speaking of its reach, its ability to stretch from the earth into the quiet air above. And it's there, in that stretch, that sprites are born. Tonight, as you rest, picture a single storm on the horizon, tall and thoughtful, its upper towers bathed in moonlight. Inside, invisible charges swirl. Above, the mesosphere waits in silence. And for just one breathless moment, a red filament of light lifts skyward, a reply to the storm's song. Now, let's float closer to the summits of storms. These are not mountaintops made of stone, but of vapor and sky. Lofty towers of cloud rising into the stratosphere and sometimes beyond. They are called cumulonimbus towers, and in their most magnificent form, they become supercells, self-sustaining storms with powerful updrafts, complex structure, and an architecture as grand as any cathedral. From the ground, they appear vast and glowing, with anvil-shaped tops that stretch flat across the sky. But from above, they look like white explosions, carved into the dark by moonlight. It is these high-altitude storm towers that often give birth to sprites and jets. Because the higher a storm's crown, the closer it reaches to the upper atmosphere, to that whisper-thin veil where light can bloom. Updrafts inside these towers can carry moisture and charge higher than commercial airplanes fly. And as they rise, the charge begins to separate. Positive at the top, negative below. This natural layering sets the stage. It creates the tension. And in the moments that follow, a lightning strike may occur. Not always downward, but upward. That's when the quiet sky responds. A sprite may stretch from the mesosphere, its red glow cascading above the storm's peak. Or a blue jet may leap from the very top of the cloud, like a luminous tree sprouting into space. These are the skies where weather and wonder meet, where cloud and cosmos reach toward one another, where storms grow so tall they touch the edge of light. Tonight, as you lie still, picture yourself weightless, drifting beside a cloud top so high it kisses the stratosphere. The air is thin, the world below is silent, and beside you, a red thread of light unfolds in slow motion, the sky responding to the height of the storm. Among all the thunderclouds in the world, a special kind stands tallest, most structured, most complex. These are supercells, and when red sprites bloom above them, it is like watching a second storm, a storm made of light and stillness. Supercells are not ordinary thunderstorms. They form when wind shear, moisture, and instability come together just right. They spin, they breathe, they build layer upon layer of rising and rotating air. Inside, a powerful updraft lifts warm, moist air high into the sky, far beyond where most clouds can reach. And at the top of this soaring tower, where the atmosphere grows quiet and cold, electric charge gathers. This is the place where a sprite's journey may begin. When a strong lightning strike erupts from the supercell, it can release enough energy to ripple all the way to the mesosphere. And if that electric whisper reaches just far enough, it awakens a sprite. A glowing crimson form rises above the storm, not in chaos, but in stillness. The sprite may appear like a jellyfish, with a bulb at the top and tendrils drifting downward. Or it may branch out like coral, spanning miles in a single breath. To see one is rare. To see one above a supercell is rarer still. But it happens. The structure of the supercell, with its high anvil top and deep convection, creates ideal conditions. A direct line from Earth to the silent sky above. When the two connect, a sprite blooms. Not as a warning, not as a danger, but as a response. A reply from the upper atmosphere to the quiet thunder below. It is symmetry, it is balance, it is beauty. And so, above one of nature's most powerful cloud forms, something delicate unfolds. Not wind, not rain, but light. Tonight, let yourself imagine a single, towering supercell drifting across the plains. Its top gleams silver in the moonlight. Its base rumbles softly with distant thunder. And above it, a sprite flickers, a crimson breath from the sky's highest chamber. You don't need to see it to know it's real. Just listen. Just rest. The storm will carry the charge, and the sky, as always, will softly answer. The sky speaks in patterns, and those sprites flicker in silence, so fast, so brief, so soft, their appearances leave behind a quiet trail. Over time, and with patience, we've begun to trace those trails and map the places where the upper atmosphere most often glows. This is the gentle science of global sprite mapping, a study of where in the world sprites choose to bloom. With satellite sensors, high-speed cameras, and eyes turned upward, scientists have created soft constellations of light dotted across our planet. These are not maps like roads or cities. There are no borders, no sharp edges. Instead, it is a painting of where conditions quietly align, a suggestion of possibility, drawn in glow. The central United States is one such place. Here, in the heart of the plains, summer thunderstorms rise tall and strong, and sprites often bloom above them, reaching red fingers into the mesosphere. South America is another, especially over the Amazon basin and parts of Brazil, where warm air rises and storms grow deep. Sprites sketch themselves across the sky with calm consistency. In Asia, over Japan and nearby ocean waters, sprites are common companions to summer storms. The open skies, the tall convection, the peaceful upper air, it's all part of the quiet formula. Parts of Africa, Australia, and vast stretches over oceans, especially in the tropics, also glow with frequent TLE activity. Still, many places on Earth rarely see sprites at all. It's not because the storms aren't strong. Sometimes, the local conditions don't favour that silent upward motion. Other times, we simply haven't looked long enough. But slowly, steadily, a global picture is emerging. Sprites, it seems, are both selective and generous. They choose the tallest clouds, the quietest upper skies, the moments after great lightning, and they offer their light in return. As you imagine Earth tonight, let your mind drift to that glowing map, not of cities or roads, but of skies. Flickers above the Andes, flashes over Oklahoma, whispers of light above the Western Pacific. A new kind of cartography, written in colour, measured in milliseconds, and shaped entirely by air. Some things happen so slowly, we barely notice. Clouds drifting, wind shifting, shadows lengthening with the day. But other things, they arrive in an instant and vanish just as fast. Sprites belong to that second kind. They are swift, almost impossibly so, born and gone in less than 20 milliseconds, faster than a blink, faster than a falling raindrop, faster than the mind can fully grasp. And yet, for that moment, they are brilliant. This is the speed of skyfire. Red sprites stretch across tens of miles in a time so short it can hardly be called time at all. Some reach upward at nearly 10,000 kilometers per second, flickering into full form from cloud top to mesosphere in the span of a heartbeat. Blue jets, too, leap quickly, a column of sapphire that flashes and fades before the sound of thunder ever arrives. This speed is part of their magic. We don't see the full sprite so much as feel its impression. Like catching a glimpse of something just outside the frame, you know it happened, but not how. Even the cameras that record them must be specially tuned. Ordinary video captures nothing. Only ultra-sensitive, high frame rate equipment can keep up with their fleeting lives. And yet, despite their speed, sprites feel slow in spirit. They don't crack or spark. They don't demand attention. They slip into the sky, leave their glow, and disappear. In this way, they teach us that even the briefest things can be filled with beauty. That even in a fraction of a second, light can bloom. And if we slow ourselves, slow our breath, slow our thoughts, we may catch a glimpse of that hidden motion, that skyfire speed, that quiet flare above the storm. Tonight, as you fall into stillness, remember, some wonders do not linger. They arrive only for those who watch gently, and even when they're gone, they leave behind a softness in the sky. Not all lightning is the same. Some races across the sky in branching, tangled streaks. Others strike downward with a single brilliant bolt. Some hide inside the clouds, flashing like thoughts never spoken aloud. And some, the rarest ones, reach just high enough to awaken a sprite. Sprites are not born of every lightning strike. They respond only to a specific kind, a kind that whispers upward rather than roaring down. The lightning that most often triggers sprites is called positive cloud-to-ground lightning. Unlike the more common negative strikes, these bolts carry stronger current, and they travel farther, not with more noise, but with more influence. A single positive bolt can shift the electrical balance of the upper atmosphere for hundreds of miles. And that shift, that soft ripple of charge, may lead to the blooming of a sprite. These lightning types are more likely to come from the upper portions of a storm, from tall supercells, or from decaying parts of a thundercloud, where charge has quietly built over time. They don't flash frequently, but when they do, they leave the sky changed, and the mesosphere, with its sensitive balance, sometimes responds by painting itself red. It's not just strength that matters, it's timing, its direction, it's whether the atmosphere above is quiet enough to listen. Even negative lightning, in some rare cases, can lead to sprites, but it must be strong, very strong, and the air above must be open to reply. It's like a conversation, a call and a response. The storm speaks in charge, and the sky answers in light. So next time you see a lightning flash, wonder what kind it was. Wonder if, miles above, a soft glow answered back. Sprites are not caused by lightning alone. They are caused by lightning and silence, by charge and space, and by a sky that's willing to receive the message. Far above the world, where gravity loosens its hold and silence becomes a companion, astronauts drift through the dark. From the windows of their spacecraft, they gaze down at Earth, a soft blue marble wrapped in swirls of cloud. It is beautiful, peaceful, fragile, and sometimes it flickers, not just with the bold strikes of lightning or the pulse of city lights, but with something stranger, quieter, rising from the tops of storms like whispers of red. Sprites. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station have seen them, ghostly filaments stretching above thunderstorms, glowing for a breath, then vanishing into the black. From above, the world looks upside down. Lightning doesn't just fall, it rises, and sprites appear as sudden columns, threads of crimson light piercing the thin layers of the upper atmosphere. Some astronauts have described them as blooming trees or red jellyfish floating in space. Others didn't notice them in the moment, but found them later, captured in photos tucked between stars and cloud. At over 250 miles above Earth, these observers are perfectly placed, not just to witness storms, but to watch what rises from them. Sprites, jets, elves, all glowing at the edge of space, unseen from the ground, but visible to those who drift above. Their cameras capture things we cannot, and their stories bring these fleeting lights closer to our understanding. But even for astronauts, sprites remain mysterious. They appear suddenly. They vanish silently. They demand no attention, but leave behind a lasting sense of wonder. Imagine that now, floating in orbit, the world turning slowly beneath you, and then a flash, not down below, but rising up, stretching toward the stars. A sprite, a soft flame from a storm's secret soul. Tonight, as you rest beneath your blanket of air, know that above you, beyond even the highest clouds, someone may be watching as the sky breathes in light. Closer to Earth, but still soaring through the upper air. Jet pilots travel through skies where weather takes shape, and sometimes where light unfolds. Though they fly lower than astronauts, jet pilots are often among the first to witness the fleeting beauty of sprites and jets with their own eyes. Especially at night, when the clouds glimmer beneath and the stars shimmer above, pilots may spot a sudden upward flash, a column of blue, or a red glow rising from the cloud tops below. It happens fast, a flicker, a bloom, gone. Many pilots describe it as a flash of red light on the distant horizon, reaching up instead of down. Some have seen blue jets launching into the air, like sapphire flames, leaping into the night. At first, many didn't know what they were seeing. For decades, these flashes were chalked up to illusion, a trick of the eyes, a reflection. a misfire of memory. But slowly, with more sightings and the help of sensitive onboard cameras, the truth emerged. They were witnessing the birth of skyfire. Pilots are in a rare position, flying above the storm's chaos, but below the thin layers where sprites come to life. They move through the in-between space, the twilight realm where Earth's weather gives way to the calm of the upper sky. And in that space, they sometimes see light most of us never will. It isn't every flight. It isn't every storm. But when the atmosphere is right and the charge is high and the clouds below begin to glow, the sky may reach upward in silence. And our pilot, calm in their cockpit, may watch it unfold. Tonight, imagine that gentle arc, a jet slicing through velvet night, the clouds asleep below, and then a red flicker just ahead. Not a warning, not a danger, just presence. The sky speaking softly to those who fly. Somewhere in a quiet observatory, on a mountain far from city lights, a camera is watching. It is not watching people, not traffic, not the news of the day. It is watching the edge of space, that quiet veil between cloud and cosmos. These are not ordinary cameras. They are tuned to see in darkness, designed to notice what most eyes miss. They point not straight up, but just above the horizon, where tall storms rise and sprites are most likely to bloom. And in their patient gaze, they catch what the world forgets to look for. Red sprites, blue jets, elves, halos, all too fast for the eye, but not too fast for the lens. These cameras don't blink. They don't sleep. They simply wait. Sometimes for hours, nothing. Clouds pass, wind stirs trees, the stars stay steady. But then, a distant flicker, a quick bloom of colour, a brief glow on the rim of the storm, and it's captured, frame by frame, a secret written in light. From deserts, from oceans, from aircraft and satellites, these cameras tell a new story about the sky. A story we once thought was just imagination. It was never imagination. We simply needed to learn how to look. There are entire networks now, dedicated to watching these lights. Arrays of cameras, linked and listening, scanning storms in real time. With their help, scientists map how sprites travel, how jets move, how light blooms and vanishes in silence. But these cameras do more than gather data. They remind us that the sky holds more than meets the eye. And sometimes, if we learn to wait, to slow down, we too can glimpse what only appears when all is still. So, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine one of those cameras, silent, steady, watching the storm from afar. And when the cloud flashes and the sky responds, a red sprite flickers into the frame. Brief, beautiful, gone, but not forgotten, because someone was watching. Earth is alive with electricity, not just in our machines or wires, but in the very air around us. The planet breathes with quiet charge, an electric circuit that stretches from ground to sky to space. And sprites are part of that gentle circuit. They are not isolated events. They are responses, participating briefly in a global conversation of air and light. This is known as the global electric circuit, a vast, invisible system where thunderstorms act like batteries, charging the atmosphere and distributing energy around the world. Every day, thousands of lightning strikes inject energy into this circuit. They create differences in potential, a kind of tension between the Earth's surface and the upper atmosphere. The air, normally an insulator, becomes a bridge, a slow, quiet conduit for the flow of charge. And sprites, they appear when that flow momentarily spikes, when a lightning bolt shifts the balance and the upper air replies. You can think of a sprite as a delicate circuit closing, a soft release, a glow, a moment of balance restored. They're part of the Earth's breath, not chaotic, but rhythmic, not violent, but essential. They don't just light the sky, they help maintain the planet's electrical harmony. Imagine that now, a sprite blooming high above a thunderstorm, not as a surprise, but as a natural part of the Earth's rhythm. A brief connection from cloud to cosmos, completing a loop that's always been flowing. You don't feel it, you don't hear it, but it's there, a silent circuit, moving through you, around you, above you. And for a single, glowing moment, a sprite is its spark. In the calm stillness above storms, something invisible is always moving. It doesn't roar like wind or swirl like clouds. It pulses, it ripples. It's called a gravity wave, not the kind that comes from distant galaxies, but a gentler cousin, born here in Earth's atmosphere. Gravity waves form when air is disturbed, by mountains, by storms, by rising heat. They travel upward, like rings in a pond, slowly undulating through the layers of air. And when they reach the upper atmosphere, they can do something remarkable. They can make sprites more likely to appear. How? These waves subtly reshape the sky. They compress and stretch the air, changing the density, tugging on electric fields, altering the delicate balance. It's like pressing your finger into still water, not enough to break it, but enough to change the way it moves. When a strong lightning strike sends energy upward, a gravity wave passing through can focus that energy, guiding it, strengthening it, creating just the right moment for a sprite to bloom. In this way, sprites are not just triggered by lightning. They are supported, shaped, lifted into being by invisible waves you'll never see. Imagine the sky, layered in silence, softly rippling with energy you cannot feel. And into that space, a red light rises, riding on the crest of a wave you didn't even know was there. Even in the upper sky, nothing moves alone. Everything is part of something else. The storm, the sprite, the wave, a quiet dance, synchronized above the world. So tonight, as your own breath rises and falls, know that far above, the atmosphere does the same, in ripples, in waves, in rhythms that guide the soft birth of light. High above the clouds, past the hush of the stratosphere, and through the thin breath of the mesosphere, there is a place where sunlight never quite lets go. This is the ionosphere, a realm of charged particles and glowing plasma, where night is never fully dark and day never completely ends. Here, atoms are stripped of electrons by the sun's invisible rays, creating a space that hums with quiet energy. And when a sprite rises, it sometimes touches this glowing veil. The ionosphere isn't a wall, it's a gradient, a softly shifting zone of interaction between atmosphere and space. It bends radio waves, it reflects energy, and at times, it responds to the whispers of storms far below. Sprites and jets, especially gigantic jets, can climb all the way to the ionosphere, briefly disturbing its calm. They create tiny blips in plasma, flickers in the sky's electric skin. Some scientists believe that these interactions help us understand how Earth's weather affects space weather, how lightning may ripple all the way up into the charged layers that touch satellites and auroras. In other words, the sky is not made of layers stacked separately. It is woven. What happens below can echo above. And what glows in the ionosphere can begin in a single flash of charge from a cloud. Even the shortest sprite may brush against this layer, releasing light into a space shaped by solar. winds and cosmic rays. It is a meeting of worlds, of Earth and near space, of atmosphere and plasma, of weather and stars. And it happens in silence. Imagine that now, a sprite stretching upward, its crimson threads softening as they reach into the ionosphere's breath, where light meets light, and air becomes electricity. You may never feel it, but the sky is constantly speaking, from Earth to space and back again. And somewhere in that quiet conversation, a sprite flickers. Sometimes, when we hear the word lightning, we instinctively pull away, thinking of sharp cracks, bright flashes, and sudden storms. But sprites, they are different. They come from the storm, yes, but they carry no roar, no shock, no threat. So, are sprites dangerous? No, sprites are gentle. They exist in the upper atmosphere, far above airplanes, far above mountaintops, far beyond where we live and breathe. They last for just a fraction of a second. They don't strike. They don't burn. They don't even make a sound. They are not like the bolts of lightning that reach toward the ground. They are replies, a soft answer to energy already released. Sprites don't carry enough power to be harmful. They do not start fires. They do not cause turbulence. They rarely affect anything at all, except the delicate layers of air high above the storm. And even there, their effect is like a whisper on a lake, a ripple soon gone. For those who study them, sprites are not warnings. They are invitations to look closer, to listen more softly, to pay attention to the hidden beauty in Earth's electric sky. Even when jets or spacecraft pass near sprite activity, they remain untouched. The light is too thin, the charge too brief. The sprite has already bloomed and vanished before we even finish noticing. So tonight, if you dream of glowing filaments dancing above the clouds, let your breath stay steady. Let your thoughts be still. Sprites are nothing to fear. They are delicate, ephemeral, and endlessly kind. The cabin is quiet. Passengers are asleep. A hush blankets the rows of seats. Outside, the stars shimmer across the window, and the world below fades into midnight. This is the time, the hour of the night flight, and far ahead, just above the horizon, a pilot might glimpse a flicker of red, a sprite. Night flights sometimes pass through regions of active thunderstorm systems, vast cloud fields stretching across the sea or plains, glowing softly from within as lightning pulses below. But not all lightning travels down. Some, very rarely, sends its energy upward, and in that fleeting silence, a sprite may bloom. At 30,000 or 40,000 feet, pilots soar just beneath the realm where sprites appear. And from that vantage point, they can sometimes see them stretching upward into space, red filaments flickering silently into the mesosphere. There is no danger, no disturbance, just a sudden awareness that something beautiful has happened far above. Modern aircraft are equipped with sensors that log these events, quick spikes in brightness on otherwise smooth instruments. But to the human eye, the experience is unforgettable. A soft flash of light, reaching up instead of down, painted in hues of rose and coral. Some pilots keep cameras ready, others simply watch. And many say these sightings feel like secrets, a gift from the night sky, shared only with those who know how to look. So, next time you take a night flight, settle into your seat, press your cheek against the window, and look toward the darkness. You may see clouds below. You may see stars above. And if you're lucky, in the space between, you may see something red flicker softly and fade. That's a sprite, passing by, just for a moment, and you are flying through its sky. Imagine a small balloon, no larger than a beach ball, rising slowly into the evening sky. Tied beneath it is a tiny package, a cluster of instruments no bigger than your hands. Together, they ascend quietly into the upper atmosphere. No engine, no wings, just the gentle lift of helium and the pull of curiosity. This is a weather balloon, and some of these gentle explorers are sent aloft to study something extraordinary: sprites, jets, skyfire. While satellites and aircraft offer wide views, weather balloons drift through the atmosphere, feeling the air directly, measuring pressure, temperature, and electrical charge. When launched near large thunderstorm systems, these balloons can rise into the stratosphere or even into the mesosphere, where they float near the very regions where sprites flicker. They don't always catch the light directly, but they catch its effect, recording subtle changes in electric fields, measuring ionization, and capturing traces of those brief upper atmosphere dances. Sometimes they carry cameras pointed toward the horizon, waiting in silence for a bloom of red. Other times, they simply listen, recording data that tells when and where a sprite may have flickered above. And when the flight is done, the balloon bursts in the thin, high air, and a small parachute guides the package gently back to Earth. Scientists retrieve it, read the story it captured, and slowly piece together a picture of skyfire, not from above, but from within. Weather balloons are quiet travelers. They do not race, they do not roar, they drift, and in their drifting, they sometimes meet the edge of wonder. So tonight, as you rest, imagine one of these tiny explorers rising into the dark, higher, quieter, until it floats just beneath a red sprite. The balloon says nothing, but its sensors remember, and when it comes back down, it brings with it a piece of the sky's most fleeting light. Even now, after decades of study and thousands of storms watched carefully from the ground and from space, there are flashes in the sky that we still do not understand. They appear high above thunderheads, sometimes red, sometimes white, sometimes shaped like nothing we've ever seen before. They come and go in milliseconds, too fast for thought, too fleeting for labels. Scientists call them unclassified flashes. They are not sprites, not elves, not jets, or perhaps they are, but shaped differently, moving differently, forming in ways we haven't yet learned to describe. Some are captured by accident, in satellite footage, or in the corner of a long exposure image. Others are witnessed by pilots, who describe strange flashes just above the cloud tops, unlike anything they've seen before. They don't follow the known patterns. They don't always appear after a lightning strike, and they don't repeat themselves in ways that make them easy to categorize. They are mysteries, and that, in its own quiet way, is beautiful, because the sky still holds secrets, because not everything above us is fully mapped, fully measured, fully explained. In this age of data and discovery, it is comforting to know that some parts of the storm's soul still remain hidden, not in shadows, but in light. These unclassified flashes may one day be named. Perhaps they are a new branch of the TLE family. Perhaps they are rare variations of what we already know. Or perhaps they are something entirely different. The sky is not obligated to explain itself. It reveals what it chooses, when it chooses. And we, watching quietly, are lucky to see even a glimpse. So tonight, let your thoughts drift to those unseen flashes, those red flickers with no name, those soft pulses in the dark that exist between what we know and what we imagine. Let them remain a mystery. Not everything needs solving. Some things are meant to be wondered about, not explained, like dreams, like distant stars, like the quietest lights at the edge of the storm. Science is a slow, patient unfolding, a steady walk into the unknown, carrying only what we believe to be true in the light we currently have. But sometimes that light flickers, and we glimpse something more. Sprites and jets, elves and halos. These once unseen lights have opened the door to a deeper mystery. Because the more we learn, the more we wonder, what else might be out there? What lies beyond the glow? Some scientists believe there are more forms of luminous events, variations we've only begun to detect. We may be seeing hints of new types of flashes, or interactions between atmospheric layers that create temporary shapes, light rings, wave-like patterns, or beams that don't fit any known category. Others suggest that these lights may help us understand space weather, the quiet influence of the sun's energy on our atmosphere. Sprites may not just be weather's reply. They may be part of a larger system, a conversation between Earth and space itself. There are theories, too, that tie these flashes to electromagnetic pulses, to particle showers from cosmic rays, even to unknown atmospheric chemistry. In the high mesosphere, we don't know for certain, and that's okay, because science isn't always about answers. It's about curiosity. It's about staying open to what the sky might whisper next. And sometimes those whispers come in red, or blue, or violet, fleeting hints of energy that don't quite match what we expect. But even without full understanding, we can feel their wonder. They remind us that there's more above us than weather and stars. There are patterns yet to be named, forces yet to be felt, stories written in light, just beginning to unfold. As you lie quietly tonight, imagine those theories, not as problems to solve, but as lullabies of possibility. Perhaps the next sprite we see will teach us something new. Perhaps the next mystery will lead to another chapter. And perhaps, even in a world of data and clarity, there's still room for skyborne questions and gentle speculation. The glow may fade, but the wonder stays, and the story of the sky continues. What if, instead of seeing sprites, we could hear them? Not with our ears exactly, but with instruments designed to listen to the language of light. Because, even though sprites are silent, they do leave something behind. A soft ripple in the electromagnetic field. A trace of energy that moves not just through air, but through space itself. Scientists call them radio echoes. When a sprite flashes above a storm, it creates a brief disturbance in the surrounding atmosphere, a gentle nudge that affects nearby charged particles. This disturbance travels outward as a very low-frequency signal, a kind of radio whisper, too deep for us to hear, but easy for sensitive instruments to catch. These echoes can be recorded, plotted, even translated into gentle sound. And when they are, they often come out as soft chirps, quick pulses, or distant clicks, the sprite's signature in sound. Some researchers liken it to hearing a heartbeat in the atmosphere. Others say it's like the sky clearing its throat in the quiet after lightning. What's remarkable is how far these echoes can travel. They ripple across the planet, bouncing between the Earth's surface and the charged ceiling of the ionosphere. This space between, called the Earth Ionosphere Waveguide, acts like a long, winding hallway where the sprite's radio voice can carry for thousands of miles. So while the sprite's glow may last for only a few milliseconds, its echo lingers much longer. And even if the light goes unseen, the sound, or rather the presence, can still be heard. There are scientists and hobbyists alike who listen to the sky with great care and patience. In the still of night, they tune their instruments to the deep frequencies, waiting for a faint ping, a sudden pop, or the rise and fall of the atmosphere's soft voice. It is a reminder that the sky speaks in more than one way. It speaks in red flashes, in blue trails, in gentle waves of energy we cannot see or feel, but that are still very real. So tonight, let yourself become a listener too. Close your eyes and imagine the atmosphere not just as a sea of air, but as a field of music, a place where storms leave quiet songs behind. A sprite blooms, the light fades, but the sky continues to hum. Now, as we near the end of our journey, let's return to where we began, beneath the stars, beneath the clouds, beneath the soft, invisible breath of the ever-watching sky. So much happens above us. Sprites bloom and vanish. Jets leap skyward. The air ripples with quiet charge. But the sky does not shout. It whispers. It murmurs in currents. It speaks through light. And if you listen closely, you can hear it say, "I'm still here." Even when the clouds are dark, even when the storms have passed, even when the stars are hidden, the sky is always present, watching, balancing, glowing in places we rarely see. It holds secrets not to keep them from us, but to give us something to discover. Red sprites rising in silence, blue jets reaching like sighs, invisible waves guiding the path of light, all part of a quiet language spoken in flickers and frequencies, meant not to alarm, but to soothe. You don't need to know every name. You don't need to see every glow. Just knowing they're there is enough. The idea that high above the tallest cloud, something luminous may be unfolding, something peaceful, something silent, is comfort enough to rest beneath. This sky, our atmosphere, has held you all along. From your very first breath, it has surrounded you with wind and weather and warmth. And now, as you drift into sleep, it continues to cradle you, layer upon layer of soft, unseen shelter. The sprites may flicker, the clouds may pass, the science may evolve, but the feeling stays. That, above the noise of the world, above the lights and screens and clocks, there is still a space of hush and wonder, a sky always whispering. And you, dear traveller, have heard it. And as we reach the end of our exploration, may the quiet wonder of red sprites and blue jets stay with you, like echoes of starlight softly folded into sleep. I hope this gentle journey through Earth's luminous upper skies brought you a sense of calm and a little spark of awe. Above the clouds, where storms become art and the atmosphere speaks in whispers, there's always something beautiful waiting to be seen, or simply felt. If you'd like to support these sleepy weather explorations, feel free to like or subscribe, but only if it feels restful and right for you. No rush, no pressure. You can rest now. Let go of the day, let your thoughts grow quieter, and allow your body to soften into stillness. The clouds are glowing, the sky is listening, and all around you is peace. Whatever the weather was today, know that above it all, there is a sky that hums in soft light, patient and kind, and beneath it, you are safe. Peaceful dreams. Good night.